Hi guys, I'm Airier, and just before I forget anything, this is going to be the probably most important thing you could see starting Destiny Beta. This is what guns you should use and what you should avoid. Before we go into that though, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe because, yeah, support my channel. Thanks guys, let's get into it.
You're not brave. You've merely forgotten the fear of death. Allow me to reacquaint you.
What we're looking at today are the best and worst weapon choices for PvP and PvE in Destiny 2 Beta. Now, this will probably carry over into Destiny 2, but hopefully some of the excesses, that there are excesses of, will be toned down or fixed. This said, Bungie, so this might actually be a viable, workable tutorial well beyond the beta itself. Because, Bungie, yeah. First up though, let's go over the weapons that are by far the best choice for PvP and PvE. This is in no particular order, but they are all great weapons in what they do. First up, pulse rifles. Now, there's a few variations. There's a kinetic, and then there are the variations that are the energy. Both are viable. Kinetic fires faster, but hits a little less hard, while the energy fires slower, but hits like a truck. It really comes down to personal taste. Neither one is overpowered by comparison, but they're very viable choices. If you like the meta of fast fire, low damage, go for kinetic. If you like the low fire, high damage, go for energy. Next up, and this is probably one of the more surprising ones, is a new category of weapon. It's a mix between a sidearm and an auto rifle. This is the submachine gun. It's essentially firing sidearm rounds at auto rifle speeds. They're very small hits, but it puts out such a flurry of them that it'll melt anything, any normal enemy in PvE, and most enemies in PvP. Now that said, there is a massive problem to this. The range is a very hard wall. When it hits a certain range, the spread is so bad that it's useless and the bullets drop off to nothing. Like, they literally stop hitting after a certain range. Take it to be an about close range fusion rifle and you have exactly what you're looking at. That said, when you're in that range, they are amazing. They will melt enemies at an extremely high rate. They're great in any setting. Just don't go range. Next up, hand cannons. Oh my God. I just gotta say, and this is probably surprising that they're putting on this list, because remember how much hate hand cannons got in years 2, 3, and everything after Vanilla Destiny was even slightly started? Do you remember how much you hate getting sniped by a thorn? Yeah, we've gone back to that. Hand cannons, they're not sniping, but they can hit, and the damage will drop off. It'll go from maybe like 200 damage, 250 damage, based on the strict controlled levels of 200 light where everyone has that. That's where the beta's at. And the most drop off you'll get is still just down to 100 damage. They will keep going. As long as you aim right and pull the trigger right and it hits, it will hit. There is no damage minimum other than saying 100. I've never seen anything lower as long as it hits. And that's not even introducing some other things like explosive rounds, which are just bullshit when compared to that. Overall, when you include the fact that reload speeds are now significantly faster,
Fuck that, guys. I'm staying up here.
they hit hard, they hit at range, and they have extra damage perks that are insane. They are a viable weapon in PvP. I've started melting bosses with them. That being the modular mind from the Inverted Spire Strike. It is a viable weapon to use against it when hitting a critical point. It will melt through enemies really fast on critical points. Because it has such a hard hit, you don't need many bullets to do it. 2 shots, it's dead. Almost everything falls into that without a shield. And with a shield, a few more shots will take it down. But that will be said for anything. The only thing better are some of the exotics. And that said, they're exotic. But I'm literally saying every hand cannon is that good. And there is an exotic hand cannon for hunters. You can see the bullshit flowing already. And it is glorious. Take advantage of this before they realize it. Take advantage. Seriously, they are going to patch this shit. But for now, it's up there. Do it. And now a moment to reflect on things you should not use. There's just a few, and while situationally they could be good, overall they're bad choices. Speaking of, fusion rifles. Yeah, I'm just not really a fan in PvP. In PvE, if you have one and you don't have anything else, it's worth it against a boss. That's pretty much all I'll say, because they're big, they're slow. That's really all they're good for. Hitting a boss. In any other situation, you'd probably be better off either equipping anything else for the power slot, which is now the stand-in for the heavy slot. So that would be shotguns or the grenade launcher. I would love the grenade launcher personally, because even though it's useless in PvP, unless used like a shotgun, in PvE, it's just a solid choice because it can either melt big enemies or take out clumps of small ones. But just don't go fusion rifle. The next gun you should avoid like the plague. Playing a long-range grenade launcher. Now, I need to specifically say this because, yes, grenade launcher has range. You can use it to actually launch grenades. Don't! It doesn't work well that way. Use it like a shotgun. If you don't, it is the most useless weapon you can use. And considering it's taking up your heavy slot, it is a mistake and you should avoid it at all circumstances. Again, a little situational, but if you make that mistake, it renders the slot empty and void, even if you have the ammo. Next up, sidearms. Basically, unless you are a god with sidearms already, don't bother picking them up. If you have one, keep it for the collection and nothing else. They're pea shooters that fire okay, but generally, if you have a submachine gun, it's the same thing, but it has auto fire, puts out more bullets, and will probably do more damage faster. Don't go for a sidearm. They're just... Unless you are a god with them. At that point, though, you're probably a god with every other weapon, and it's still not the best choice. Yeah, just don't. And finally... Now, this one's a little hard to say, because... Not because it didn't fit on the list, but because it is personally very painful for me to admit. And when I say very painful, I mean I am physically pained to say this. Assault rifles. Yeah, the old-fashioned good, like, mini snipers, the hard-hitting, long-range guns. I have yet to find one that is actually half decent. All of them are basically slow-firing, less damage versions of auto rifles that have more range, but spray. They just don't work as well. They hit for less, and even though the auto fire perk on a few of them is nice, it's just underwhelming. They're just marshmallow shooters. Now, it might just be that they haven't introduced it yet, or it hasn't dropped for me yet, but I've yet to see a single really good one. If you're good with them, great, but most of the fighting in this game is more up close than previous games. That might be because in PvP, the only maps available are long to medium or short to medium range maps. There's no long range map yet. So the viability might very well change. That said, as of right now, where most of the fighting is at the short to intermediate distance, it's not the best choice. Because these guns, they don't pack the punch to keep up with any other medium or short range option. They're not bad at long range, but you're not fighting long range. You really don't need to do that. Unless you glitch out on the modular mind, which you can do, and stay on the 3rd level when you're fighting him on the bottom, which you can do, somehow. You're actually watching a video of it right now. It is possible. It's bullshit, but it's possible. Short of that, it is not really useful, because that's the kind of range a scout rifle, not assault rifle, a scout rifle should work at. Yeah. They're just... I guess they came pre-nerfed this time around. Bit disappointed because they're my favorite class in Destiny 1, but... yeah. Hope they change that. That said, those are the best and worst classes that you can choose. Now, the individual weapons are very much up in the air, and it's very hard to make a list of those yet because with how you earn weapons in this game, as of this moment, at least in the beta, it's more hit and miss if you have something you like or not. That said, every weapon you get that has a certain name will have the same perks as every other weapon of that name. There's no more random drops. Yeah. And the exotics they give out are just... Warlocks got gypped.
And I survived.
That said,
I survived that
oh
very much
my
free fall.
god! Titans and that autocannon are bullshit, and the hand cannon for the hunters. They are so bullshit in the best possible way. Unless you're playing against them, which they're bullshit in the worst possible way. Take your pick. So all the same, everyone. Thanks for watching. Hope this helped. And if you can, subscribe and leave a like. Because, yeah, support my channel. It does help. Thanks, guys. Later.
That was just